Jake Paul lost to Tommy Fury via a split decision. The decision should have been unanimous, since Jake only won about 2 rounds, and even then they were pretty close. Tommy outboxed him clear as day. He stuck behind his jab, moved around the ring well, and threw solid combinations during the fight. Jake Paul looked really sloppy by comparison, and his game plan was diabolical. He was swinging that overhand right for the entire fight, and while he did catch Tommy a couple of times, it was mostly with the left hook instead. I'm gonna do a whole breakdown on the Jake Paul vs Tommy Fury matchup, examining what both fighters did well and did poorly. So with that in mind, please subscribe so you don't miss out on the breakdown, and while you're at it, like this video as well since it helps me out eternally. Back to the main topic. What does the future of Jake Paul's boxing career look like? He got schooled by a novice boxer in Tommy Fury, so now we have a good measuring stick to base where he's at. Jake, Tommy, the rest of the Fury family, and everyone online has been talking about a rematch, and that does seem like a logical step forward for Jake Paul. However, he's gonna need to change up his tactics drastically and work on his fundamentals so much in a very short space of time if he wants to win a rematch. Jake Paul is kinda fucked either way in this regard. If he fights Tommy again, there's a really good possibility that he loses for a second time. If he doesn't take the Tommy rematch and instead fights a retired MMA fighter like Nate Diaz, he's gonna get all sorts of criticism online. Comments like, Jake couldn't keep up with the boxer, so now he has to fight washed up MMA guys again. That being said, Jake has faced better competition every time he's fought. Gibb was a YouTuber, Nate Robinson was an actual athlete, Ben Askren was an MMA fighter with no striking skills, Tyron Woodley was an MMA fighter who could actually punch and had power in his hands. Anderson Silva was the GOAT of MMA and had solid boxing capability. Tommy Fury was an actual pro boxer who was the same age as Jake. Every time Jake Paul has been in a boxing ring, he has incrementally gone up against higher levels of opposition. He finally met his match with Tommy Fury, and while he needs to rebuild somehow, Nate Diaz is a backward step, and it perpetuates the narrative that Jake Paul can only beat MMA fighters and not true boxers. So as a result, Jake probably doesn't want to engage in that matchup. The KSI fight is another possibility for Jake Paul, but KSI has made it clear that he wants to fight towards the end of the year. KSI and Nate Diaz are out of the equation, so that really only leaves Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury 2. Unless Jake can find some other novice boxer that has name value, he's kinda stuck with facing Tommy again. Can Jake Paul beat Tommy Fury? Well, that's kinda hard to say right now. It looks like he regressed so much and I'm not sure what happened. Sure, Tommy did his thing and made Jake look stupid at points, but I don't think it's a case of Tommy being just way too good for Jake. Tommy is still a novice and got hurt in a couple of moments. Jake more so had an awful performance and he looked flat out there. He was getting outworked, out-jabbed, and his movement was a few steps behind Tommy's. Jake needs to really dial in, work on the fundamentals, and stick to a proper fucking game plan. Maybe even with a new training team. That being said, Jake Paul's next move kinda has to be the Tommy Fury rematch. Tommy Fury gets another payday, and Jake Paul has the chance to redeem himself. A small chance, but still.